I'm Samantha and welcome back to the Harp Studio. Today I'm going to show you some easy ways to make your practice way more efficient and learn a lot faster no matter what level you're currently playing at. If you take only one thing from this video, let it be this. Don't run on autopilot. Be aware, notice things, make observations, and make choices about your practice. Sitting down and just running through stuff without really thinking about what you're doing or how you're doing it or what you even want to accomplish is basically the least effective way to practice. It is more effective than not practicing, so I'll give you that. But if you want to see some real progress fast, you've got to learn how to pay attention to your thoughts and actions and do things more intentionally. That can look like choosing how long to spend on each exercise or piece during your practice session, choosing which section in a song to focus on, or making observations as you play so that you can then think about what to focus on and improve next. There have been plenty of times in my teaching career where I've listened to a student play and then asked them, "What do you think about what you just played?" And they say, "I don't know." And I really think the single biggest issue you can have with your practice technique is to not be listening or paying attention to your own playing as you play. So it's very simple, although it's not always easy to implement 100% of the time, but if you can try to notice what's going on as you play, make some observations, make some choices, and not just run on autopilot, that is going to massively increase the results you're going to see from your practice. Another very easy way to make your practice more effective is to not start at the beginning of the song every single time you play. Many students who come to me have something I sometimes call beginning only syndrome. They'll have a piece that they've been working on that they can play the beginning of really, really well, but at a certain point they kind of fade out and slow down and have to stop because it gets too hard, they can't play the end very well, and usually that's because in their practice sessions they're always starting at the beginning of the song, so the beginning of the song gets practiced a lot, and then the end of the song doesn't really get practiced at all, and then by the time you get to this point of the beginning sounding really great, you don't even want to spend that time on the end because it's so demotivating. You're like, ugh, I can't even play it. So instead of always starting at the beginning, try dividing your song up into sections. That can be every line or every page, or maybe places where there's an obvious change, like there's a new melody being introduced. Then when you sit down to practice your piece, make a choice about which section you're going to start with instead of just going to the beginning by default. And keep track of which sections you've been looking at in previous practice sessions so you can make sure the whole song is getting practiced. That way you can make sure the whole song gets practiced equally, you can avoid beginning only syndrome, and actually get to the end of your performance. Now, once you've gotten good at not always starting at the beginning, the next step is to make the sections that you practice very, very small. I would say not more than 4 measures at a time, or it could be even smaller. Smaller is great. You want to zoom in on that tiny chunk and make sure you can play that tiny little bit really, really well. Then, as you have multiple of these very small chunks that you can play well, you can start threading them together and take larger and larger sections at one time. The trick is to work up from small sections through medium sections and working up to the whole piece rather than trying to just jump from one itty-bitty measure to the whole song at once. So if you start with 1 measure chunks, then do 2 measure chunks, 4 measure chunks, 8 measures, 16 measures, etc. until you're working up to a whole page, a whole song. Playing 1 measure on its own versus playing the whole song is a really different experience. So if you've ever thought, I can play this measure when I just play it by itself, why do I still mess it up when I get to it when I'm playing the whole song? Maybe think about, have you done some medium length sections as well to build up to that full run through? The next thing you can do that will absolutely level up your practice is that when things aren't working, do something different. The basis of efficient practice is approaching the same material in a lot of different ways. When you're getting bored or frustrated, you're not learning very well. So when you feel the boredom or frustration setting in, change things up. That can look like playing slower, clapping a rhythm, counting out loud as you play, saying note names as you play, taking the right hand part and making the left hand learn it, and vice versa. Taking the hands apart, playing them separately, putting them back together, playing it backwards. Really anything goes here. Anything you can come up with to do things differently could be the boost that you need to find your next breakthrough. Also very important for your practice and making progress is taking breaks. I've definitely had students who get super into practicing, and I love that they're so excited about the harp, but they'll sometimes sit at the harp for 2-3 hours even without getting up, and that's honestly not good for your body, and it's not the best for your brain either. At a minimum, take a 10-minute break to stretch and move around for every hour of playing. Honestly though, more often is great too. And if you're getting frustrated, that's a great time to take a break as well. Even if it's as short as just walking to the kitchen to get a glass of water, that can be all you need to just reset and get back into a headspace where you can actually learn something. Now these are all really easy ways to make your practice go further, but you might have some bad habits that are holding you back. So check out this video next to make sure that you're setting yourself up for as much progress as possible. And for more free harp tips straight to your inbox, sign up for my email newsletter. Link for that is in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Happy harping!